But I think Jamal Bryant would absolutely sell her soul if it meant him getting 3 more parishioners, 2 more people to click his Instagram, somebody else to like him.
Folks, this has gone viral. So, just to bring you all up to speed, Pastor, and I use that in quotes, Pastor Jamal Bryant. He's actually originally from here in Baltimore, Maryland. Is now he's a bishop, Reverend Doctor Bishop in Atlanta, Georgia. He's a charlatan, but anyway, he and his wife, First Lady Karri Bryant, went to some event, and she wore what people are calling a look nude lace dress. Okay. And so she got a lot of flack for this. People were saying it's unbecoming. It was not modest. What First Lady, it wouldn't be something a First Lady should wear. It was too revealing, so on and so forth.
The day the internet went crazy about a dress my wife had on. Now, they didn't say anything about the $4 million that was raised for the United Negro College Fund. They never mentioned that she prayed until heaven came down. They never said anything about this was the largest fundraiser for HBCUs in the country. But insecure, jealous, petty, small-minded people got in their feelings and set up a false barometer of holiness based off of a dress. Now, you got to help some people because some people have embraced the full knowledge of ignorance without any assistance for understanding. The dress was not see-through. The dress was flesh color. But because you ain't never been nowhere and ain't never been exposed to nothing.
Well, one of the people that pushed back against him was one of my favorite pastors, Pastor Bishop Patrick Wooden. Okay. He is out of North Carolina, the Upper Room church. And he had some harsh, I was actually surprised he said this about him.
I want to thank the Lord today. I'm going to preach. I want to thank God for the First Lady. Amen. And I thank God that your First Lady, my wife, First Lady of this ministry, First Lady of this church and North Carolina 3rd Ecclesiastical Jurisdiction. I thank God that she dresses like a First Lady. I thank God. I thank God for that. The lowering of standards are amazing. A preacher presented his wife the other day, and I guess you call that a flesh-colored dress. I don't know. It's black dress and flesh color. It gives the illusion that she's not wearing anything underneath. And I heard the preacher, when he defended her dress, by saying, first of all, he bought the dress. And then he said, I want to address people who don't know anything, who haven't been anywhere, who don't know nothing. So I guess our objection to a man of the cloth presenting his wife in public looking like a $2 whore.
Ooh, oh my God.
At least 2. Now, I didn't say she was. I'm not talking about her. My statement is not about her. My statement is about him. I said he presented his wife, and he said he bought the dress. Those are his words, not mine. And there is nothing classy about that. There's nothing modest about that. He said we haven't been anywhere. What I would like to know is, Where have you been? Where did he go? So I'll make sure that I never go there, because I don't want to go anywhere, and I come back with that kind of a notion. Now I will say this, and this is a comment about my wife, not his wife. This is a comment about my wife. My wife wouldn't have done it, no matter what I said. She just would have said, "Honey, I'll wear this for you.
All right, so let's pause it here.
I'll wear this for you at home when we know the grandkids aren't coming."
Okay, so ladies, I want to get your first response to this. The first question is, what did you think of the dress? I'll start with you, Nicole.
It's definitely not my style. Definitely not my taste. But her husband had pearls on his jacket. Did you notice that when he was standing at the lectern in front of his packed church? The gray jacket he had pearls around its neck. They're not like us. They're not like your traditional Christian couple. I don't know what part of the clergy, what part of the barometer they fall on, but they are definitely not like the rest of us. If he prefers to see his wife scantily clad in public, that's a personal problem for him. But for her, as a woman of God, the answer would have been no. I'm aware we could have a nice party in the house. We could wear it right here, but you're not going to get me tore up by the entire world because I'm supposed to be a role model for women who are seeking modesty, right? This is not modest. It is not. Flesh-colored black lace makes no difference. Sometimes you have to take a look at a dress, and Andre Soriano is a friend of mine, right? He makes beautiful dresses that are gorgeous dresses. But there's the time and the place for things, and it wasn't the time and it wasn't the place. But I want to correct one thing he said about them raising $4 million for the United Negro College Fund like it was some big deal. Let me tell you, President Trump with $1.34 billion for HBCUs. Boy, sit down somewhere. The pocket change. Pocket change.
Oh, and he had his hand out in some of that as well.
Of course. They paid
Bryant
for them to be there, flew them in. They probably paid for the dress.
Absolutely. All right, Shelly, what are your thoughts on the dress?
First, I want to comment on the $4 million. I mean, if you can raise all that, give me my money back. You don't need the $1 billion that President Trump. I mean, I'm like, okay, well, if you can do that so easily in a weekend, hey, you don't need mine. Give it back. That's number one. Number two, honestly, when I saw the dress, I was like, ooh, that's a little risque. However, I don't see her nor Jamal as a pastor and first lady. So I don't see them in that context because Jamal is sort of I don't want to say jackass, but I'm gonna say jackass in the pulpit. Okay, I said that in the pulpit, right? So I don't even see them. I know that's the title and that's their church, but to me, she and Jamal are actors or glamour stars, if you will, or celebrities, because that's not necessarily a church that I think of. So in that sense, I see why they wore that, or she wore that, and he bought it for her, because they were basically walking the red carpet. They weren't walking the pulpit, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I'm torn because first off, I understand that as a first lady, as a woman of God, that you are supposed to carry yourself in a certain way. She is supposed to be an example of not only femininity, but of women with integrity. And no matter where she is, whether she's in church, whether she's, in Target, wherever, she is supposed to carry herself a certain way because she is an example of a Christian woman, or she's supposed to be. Now, with that being said, we all know they are not examples of Christian anything, of biblical women, of nothing. Neither one of them are, but they're supposed to be, but they're not. They're not. And it's just as Bishop Wooden mentioned, Women, 1 Timothy 2 says women should dress with modesty and self-control. And the reason behind this is not to dictate what women wear, or men for that matter. It's about, not being a stumbling block for other people.
Mhm.
I actually have a dress like that. I had a dress like that, and I hadn't worn it in a long time. And I went to put it on, and my husband said, "Where are you going?" And so I was like, "What?" And he was like, "It's see-through." And I was like, "No, it's not. It's just nude." And he was like, "Oh," he was like, "No, I don't think you should wear that."
Mhm.
And so I was like, and I'm one that does push the envelope. I probably shouldn't wear some of the things I do wear. I will admit that.
That's the problem, KJ. Well, that's not, I shouldn't say the problem, but that is part of the conversation. There's this broad spectrum of what modesty means to some. And I'm talking about even in a Christian or a religious context. What some people say is modest, maybe is not, and vice versa. I mean, there are some people who have a problem with women, Christian women having their arms out. I mean, I'm just saying, or having any part of their chest shown or whatever. So there's some people who say Christian women shouldn't wear pants or things like that. So there's a spectrum. And again, I don't have a problem. I thought it was risque. Don't get me wrong. I think it was risque. I know that there's a sheer covering, a nude covering on that dress. So I know she's not naked, but again, that's a discussion or a challenge, if you will, that's been around for a while. What, quote unquote, what does modesty mean? And it doesn't mean the same to everybody. I mean, her husband.
I've heard that. I think we all have a general understanding of what is acceptable and what is not. Now,
well,
they
don't.
Some people.
She thought that was acceptable. Then
there are some. Because I can understand that coming from them. I can understand that. Nothing they do.
We don't all have the same.
Nothing they do is acceptable. Generally, nothing he doesn't preach from the Bible. They are not acceptable as Christians, as a first lady, as a pastor. Nothing. But when we're talking about modesty, it is a general exception of, are you wearing something that is lustful, that's going to make, if you're wearing a dress that is supposed to make the appearance of being nude, that's we can all generally agree, people who follow the Bible, who that's not acceptable. You're trying to look like you're naked.
I get that. So using your example that you gave of the dress that you have, right? Mm-hmm. You said you were going to wear it. So we don't all think the same, because you were going to wear it.
It wasn't right. I knew it wasn't right.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I said that before I started. I am one that probably pushes the envelope. I admit that. And as I've gotten older, I realize some things that I wear, I probably should not have wear or wore. I do that. I can admit that. But and that's something I'm working on. I'm not
saying that to point you. I'm just saying that, using that example, then I'm saying that we all don't have the same definition. Then we all don't have. That's my point.
Well, here's my hot take.
I'm making the point because I knew that the dress was not right.
I know you said that, but I was trying to make that point. But then you said what you knew. My point.
I think most people know. It's like, generally speaking, if you wear something and you're questioning, is this okay? I wonder if this is too risque. It is. Generally speaking, we know as women, we know. It's just the question is not if it's whether or not it is risque or it's immodest. The question is, do we care? That is right. This is what it is. Okay, right. It's never really, and generally speaking, it's never the question of is it lacking modesty. The question is, do we care?
Exactly.
And so, but we know it is what it is. But now, my next question for you all: do you think Bishop Wooden went too far? Shelly, do you think he went too far with the $2 whore comment and stuff?
Yeah, I would say yes. And let me tell you why. Because he said that she looks like that, but then he said that's not about her. Well, yeah, it was, because you said she looks like the $2 whore, even though her husband bought her the dress and whatever. So I don't think he needed to add that part. I think his commentary on it was relevant, was certainly in the realm of the public discourse, if you will. But I don't think so. Again, I don't know this woman. I do know Jamal Bryant because when he used to be here in Baltimore, I've gone to his church before years ago when he was here, when he was up and coming. But I don't know this woman. She's a beautiful woman. But see, my point is, I start with, I don't even see them as quote unquote role models. That's where I start, because they're role models for another reason. Let me say it that way.
Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts there, Nicole? Do you think Bishop Wooden went too far?
No, and I watched this whole thing.
Yeah,
and he said some other stuff that, wasn't for my ears. He was talking to men, and so I think Bishop said what he needed to say to drive home the point to his parishioners, right? To drive home the point to people who were listening, to make sure that traditionally believing Christian people understand that the line hasn't moved. Jamal Bryant and his wife are attention seekers. This is what they do. And this was done purposely. She intended to, quote unquote, break the internet. And what she really has done is broken the bond between her husband and all of the other Black preachers who are saying, come on, bro, really? First, you out here, sanctifying quote unquote gay churches, and then you okay with ripping babies out of the womb, and now you got your wife out here pimping herself. At some point, we're gonna need you to stand up, kinda, just a little bit on your faith, just a small bit on your faith. And I think that call to him to do that is going to see more petty from him, because that's who he is. She'll probably come out in a G-string and 2 pieces of salami, a la, Lady Gaga on Sunday, just to prove the point she can. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And that's a part of a woman growing into her maturity. Of course, everybody's got some slinky stuff in their closet. You go to the back of the closet and be like, I'm going to kill him in this. And then you look in the mirror and be like, oh, I could kill him in this, but boy, do I really want to. Do I really want that type of attention? All women do that. All women want to believe that at some point that they could squeeze back into a dress, and it may fit great, but that time in your life has passed. That season of your life has passed. And to have your husband say, you know what? I like that $2 whore look. Let me go buy you some couture that just feeds into the whorishness. And then we're going to go to the United Negro College Fund. Hear that? Fundraiser. And shut down the internet. Instead of it being about the kids who use that money to get educated, it was all about his wife's
Jamal and Karri.
Exactly. Attention seeking. That's my hot take. They did it on purpose.
Absolutely.
They got the attention that they wanted to get. What he wasn't anticipating is Black clergy not saying, well, that's just his wife and that's just how they do. But Black clergy saying, what the hell? Come on, bro. Really? I mean, when will it be too far for him and this wife?
It's not
be the line that they finally say, you know what, maybe we ought to straighten up a little bit. Maybe.
As long as they're getting paid, they're going to keep keeping on. I wanted to get just a couple more minutes of it, because he really goes in, Bishop Wooden. Mm-hmm. Take a look at this next part.
Because there is such a thing as decency. Decency. Y'all don't like me. But in public, at an event where everyone will see, I don't know of a greater way for a man to demean his wife. Ooh. And if he doesn't think that that is demeaning her, there is something wrong with him. But then again, we're also talking about the guy who looked at Cam Newton's legs and told Cam he had pretty legs. Yeah, see, so, something is wrong. And we live in a day where people will amen anything. the members of the church screaming amen of her pastor, the first lady, wearing a dress that is designed to make it appear that she's wearing nothing underneath. Now, I'm going to preach, but I want to tell you this. I've been a man since I was 18. I was almost one before then. But I'm 64 now, so I've been a man for a while. So I want to talk to you about the world of men. The world of men. The world of men. In the world of men, when men see a married wife with her husband dressed like that, the signal that's sent to the world of men is he needs help. Because he ain't hitting it right.
Oh.
In the world of men. I said the world of men. Now, ladies, don't judge me. You don't live in the world of men.
That part.
All right, so this is the part I wanted to get to and wanted to ask you all your opinion. So there's two parts to this. There are two different sides people land on when it comes to that. Now, some people are saying, look, she's with her husband okayed the dress. Sometimes husbands or boyfriends or whatever, they want their wives or their girlfriends to wear these types of outfits so other men can be envious. Oh, I got this good looking woman, this sexy woman or whatever, and I'm showing her off. And then there's the other side that sides with Bishop Wooden, with saying he did something wrong with him for allowing his wife to leave like that with him. What are your thoughts there, Shelley?
So I think Bishop Wooding, the older I've gotten, I think a younger man wants to show his wife off. And don't get me wrong, men love showing off beautiful women. They're women. I'm not saying anything is wrong with that. Men want their women to look beautiful, to be beautiful, and they want to, say, hey, I got this beautiful woman on my arm. That's just a man's way. But a good man, a good woman, a good man doesn't want everybody else to see his wife.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference between, I would say, an immature stage of a man into a mature stage of a man. I'm not necessarily blaming her. He did buy the dress. She wore the dress for her husband. It happened to be in public. Okay, whatever. But again, they are more celebrities than they are pastor and first lady. And this is what we see. That's why I say this is what we see on the red carpet. The celebrities do this. Hey, whatever. That's all I can say. Whatever.
What about you, Nicole? Which camp do you fall in?
So here's my thing. It's just wrong. I mean, there's no two ways around it. My church is very progressive leaning, meaning that people come however they are. Like if you're, you work for Waste Management and it's church time and you pull up on the truck, you can come in jeans and this and this and this. And we do have some girls that wear like leather, like pants and a jacket. So it's in DC, so it's more of an urban environment. With that said, she's the first lady of that church, quote unquote church. And he's quote unquote the pastor of this church. But they are more celebrity, at least in their own mind. They are definitely more attention seeking in their own mind than they are kind of aligned with Christianity. I think he sees this as his job. Like this is how he makes the money to have the wife with the scantily clad dresses. I don't think that he sees this as a personal alignment with God, because if he did, he would value his wife much, much more. As God's word tells us, a man who finds a wife finds a good thing, right? He's supposed to find a good thing. He's not supposed to be sharing a good thing with everybody. It's supposed to be for him. But I think Jamal Bryant would absolutely sell her soul if it meant him getting 3 more parishioners, 2 more people to click his Instagram, somebody else to like him. They're just attention seekers, and there's no two ways around it. It's a bad combination to be a pastor of a church and be an attention seeker. but they're going to do it again. Make no mistake. I'm guaranteeing you this Sunday, there's going to be some
Absolutely.
stuff. There's going to be
Absolutely.
some stuff.
Well, sometimes God uses this sin, or things that are not supposed to be. They use this for good, because what you guys continue to say, that he's not really a man of God. I mean, it's
Right.
from what I'm gathering. And so sometimes people need to see certain things like this to realize that, because I do believe he does have people who follow him, who believe he is a man of God, who believe he is a Bible believing pastor, and he's not. And so maybe this is the straw that broke the camel's back, to show people this man is a charlatan. He is, not what he perceives to be. He's not Bible believing, and it's right, not just within the church, it's just within his own house too.